Hello everybody and welcome to the latest Project Cars developer live stream. My name is Joe Barron and I'll be your host for today. Joining me in the chair is Stephen.
Hey again, good to be back.
Our game director, of course, who's travelled a very long way to be here today, which has given him the built-in racing driver excuse for the stream that he's a little bit tired.
Just a little bit.
A little bit tired, but he has come all the way from San Francisco and he has been travelling for 25 hours, so I think we can let him off. But yeah, we're here today. We're going to talk to you all about career mode primarily. We obviously talked already, Stephen, you were on the physics stream at the beginning, and we had one about cars and tracks, and then we had one about online modes. But this time it's all about career. And we'll take some questions from Stephen. Will run you through basically through all the new stuff that's coming to career mode, and we'll give you a rundown of all of that. But we'll take some questions from the chat as well. We're live, I should say, on Twitch and on Facebook. But if you do want to ask questions, please head over to twitch.tv/projectcarsgame, where I will be looking in the chat to make sure that we take some questions from there rather than from Facebook, where it's crazy over there. It's a minefield. It's too hard to take questions from Facebook, so I'll be looking mostly at Twitch for questions.
Did you get lots of likes?
Hopefully. But I'll hand you into Stephen's capable hands now. He's going to start running you through the career mode, and I'll keep my eye on the chat and I'll put your questions to him. So yeah, take it away, Stephen.
Capable hands and sleepy eyes.
Yes.
Alrighty, so finally we get the opportunity to talk about career in detail. This is one area of Project Cars 2 that we've not had much opportunity to really dive into with our fans out there, and it's about time. So coming off of Project Cars 1, we learned a lot of lessons. Project Cars 1 was obviously our first outing in doing a career mode where we were simulating the life of a motorsport driver, a race driver in the world of motorsport and everything that entails. It was our first outing, our first attempt, and in hindsight, a lot of the choices that we made in how we created the interface turned out not to work that well. So with Project Cars 2, we spent a lot of time in improving that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, we're on the career tab here. You'll be familiar with the user interface by now. At the top, you have the career, quick play, community, which are the core gameplay tabs. And then, of course, you have the My Profile options and extra. So we're on the career tab now, and this is where you initiate your life of a motorsport driver. So first thing you have here is you have three tiles. If you have an existing career in progress, which we do here, you see the continue career tab tile, which shows you the name of the current driver that you have active and the team that is currently racing for. It shows you the motorsport that is participating in currently, which is LMP3, and it shows you the car that is currently driving. Up at the top right hand, it shows a brief summary of trophies won, accolades unlocked, and lifetime goals achieved, which is 0 at this point in time, but the other ones is done some. To the right top, we have new drivers. So if this is your first outing playing the game, this is the only tile that will be selectable. And then right underneath that, you have managed drivers. And this is where if you have several drivers in existence, where you will manage their saves. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a new career driver in Project Cars 2.
I'd just like to point out, Stephen, it took approximately 1 minute for people to spot our comedy driver names. Randy Tudor was spotted immediately. So you're going to have a good name when you make this driver now.
Well, I have this one, right? Who's what?
Dusty Springs. We're very sensible here. Slightly Mad Studios and all of that, of course.
Yeah. So we'll go on. We'll stick to that vibe. Here we go. So I'm going to create a new driver. So you go to the top right-hand tile and you select that. Now, the first thing it asks you is for some basic information. You need to type in your name, last name, initials, select your nationality or region. So I'm going to grab the keyboard over here very quickly so I can actually type. And let's get focus in there. We'll go with, let's see, we'll have a driver called Rusty Gear.
I was going to say you've got a thing about Rusty. The other one was Dusty. You just like rhyming.
Yeah, Dusty Springs and Rusty Gear. Here we go. So we have, he's a great driver. So we'll do Ace, right? And then you can select your nationality. I'm just going to stick with United Kingdom. We'll go to create and we'll hit enter there. So now we have the first step done of creating our career driver. Next thing up, we have the Motorsport Grid. So here we have a total of 29 different motorsports spread across 5 different disciplines. Starting at the very top, you have your open wheel discipline. Underneath that, you have prototypes. You then go to GT. Second from the bottom, you have touring cars, and at the very bottom row is rallycross. Now, the first thing that you do here is you decide how you are going to want to play your career. Do you want to simulate the life of a career, a race driver who started off in a grassroots motorsport such as Formula Rookie, karts, or Janetta Juniors, and then work his way up towards the top echelon of motorsports? Or do you want to start off a bit higher up? So, for example, jump straight into GT4 or Cayman or Group A or one of these different sports. As you progress through career, and I'll touch on this very quickly, the little blue line that you see highlighted on the screen as I move through the different motorsport disciplines, it suggests a natural path, but you don't have to follow that. You can start off in Formula Rookie, and successfully completing that, it will unlock Tier 5. In Tier 5, you can then select a motorsport in a different core motorsport discipline and go with that one. So you can zigzag through the Motorsport Grid and work your way up to the top. You can even start up in a higher tier and jump back down and play a lower tier as you progress through your career. It's up to you. It's the sort of things that happen in real life. You may have somebody who takes a break from a high caliber motorsport and goes and does something else for a year as a sabbatical and then come back again. So we allow you to simulate that as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and say, let's start off in GT4. So the first thing I do when I select this now is it shows me a video highlight of the sort of action that I can expect to see in this motorsport. So I can see the sort of cars that's racing in it and the sort of tracks and so on and so on. So I'll let that play through, or if I wanted to, I can just skip that, of course, as well. I can just hit A. I could at this point in time still decide, you know what, yeah, it doesn't look quite like I feel like driving, what I feel like driving already now. I'm going to go back and go try a different one. Let's see what Group A racing would look like. And I can press there and I can watch the video for that. I'm like, yeah, cool, I see. This is like some historic classic cars here. Ooh, a nice E30. I used to drive one of those back in the day.
Couldn't help but drop that in there.
Yes, actually had to. That was just perfect. And then I decide, well, now you know what? I'm going to go. Actually, I decided I'm going to stick with GT4. I want to go with GT4. So I go back to GT4. I don't want to watch the video again. I can just skip that. Of course, if you accidentally skip it, or if you do want to watch it again, now you have the option to rewatch the intro. You can just press Y there, and it will bring the video back up, and you can watch it again. First thing here, major improvement over Project Cars 1 is how we present you with the in-season series that you can select to play. So in this example here, we have 2 initial series. One is a Euro Championship called the Euro Championship, and the other one is...
That's why you're the game director, Stephen.
The other one's the US Championship, which is called the GT4 United States Championship. And it shows me all the vital information that I need to know about each one of these. So here you can see a beautiful poster advertising this series. Over here you can see the calendar, each round indicated by the date on which it takes place and the location. But here's a little cool thing that we've added now also with Project Cars 2 is if you are on a stint where you're not going to have, you feel you're not going to have the time to commit to play through so many rounds, you can then say, I'm just going to do a short series, a season, or the series. So you just press the little button there and it presents you with a shorter version of the season. You can say, okay, cool, I'm just going to do those 2 rounds. So you can choose whether you want to do the full calendar for this series or if you want to do the short one.
That's super helpful for people who are, if you're just short on time or there's a particular tier maybe that you want to kind of go through faster than another one. Or
this is a big deal, yeah, because our career is extensive, and in Project Cars 1 you had to do some serious time commitment to get through it all, to see it all. This way you can like shortcut your way and still experience all of the different motorsports, but in more of a bite-sized experience.
Yep.
Because we're also still, and we'll get to that later on, but we're still allowed to also scale the duration of the races as well. But this allows you to scale the season, which is a new thing, and we're very happy that we were able to get that in. Another thing that's also in Project Cars 1, it wasn't very obvious always that you could start in different places or different series in your season. This time it makes it very obvious, and you can immediately also graphically see how they flow together. So if I move to the right hand one here, the Intercontinental Championship, which is a GT4 one, here on the right hand side, beautiful poster. In the middle, it tells me what I need to do in order to gain access to that. So this series is currently locked. You need to successfully complete one of the 2 feeder series, which is graphically obvious as well. In some of the other motorsport, there may be more than just the 3 like this. There are actually, and then this information is more useful as well in there, as it makes it clear for you how the series flow together. At the bottom left of the screen here, you have rules and regulations. So if you want to see how this motorsport actually works on a rules and regulation basis, you just hit X, and it gives you the basic rundown, how the point system works. First of all, it tells you the sort of sessions that you can expect in this. You have a practice, qualifying, and race. It tells you how grid placement works based on qualifying, pit lane rules, point systems, bonus points. So you have an upfront good bit of information on what you expect when you're actually out there racing and participating in this motorsport.
Can I give you a couple of questions?
At this point, yeah, sure.
So I lost the name already, but one guy was asking if you can change from short to a full season, mid-season, or you have to make your commitment at the start.
You commit at the beginning.
Okay.
You commit to it right at the start, yeah.
And we'll get to showing off the race length stuff shortly, but Adam Downey was asking how variable is the race length.
Yeah, we'll
option.
get to that.
Yeah.
It's on the round start screen, and we'll be there shortly, in fact.
And where are we? And
hey, one more question.
Yeah, Alex Rogers was asking if the weather in career mode for different championships is randomized, or whether the events are kind of pre-scripted in terms
It's
of
pre-scripted.
Yeah.
We considered going randomized, and even though we'd like to have some variation in it, it's not entirely fair because of the way how we track player progression and all that, if people have vastly different experiences. So it's something that we're still investigating for in future iteration, but up to now we've not come up with a design yet that we're happy with. So for now it is pre-scripted. There is variation in the sense of we have a built-in variation. If, using an example, if you have medium clouds going to rain, at what point in time the transition happens. So it doesn't always happen at exactly the same time, but you start off in medium clouds and you'll end up in rain. It's just exactly when in the race it happens. There's a variability that, and of course in some of the series like the endurance, we have like many different weather progressions happening during the course of a 24-hour race. So that brings a lot of variation in as well. Okay, great. So let's continue here. We're going to go in and select the US Championship. I hit continue button. Now the first thing that happens here, again, big improvement over Project Cars 1. In Project Cars 1, you had pre-set contract offers, and there were only 2 or 3 per motorsport. So when you had a motorsport where you had, say, 10 cars, you could only ever in career get to play 3 of those cars. You didn't have any choice over how the car looked, what sort of paint job it had, or any of those sort of things. So, and that was with a much smaller set of cars. So we knew going into Project Cars 2, we had to improve that dramatically. Firstly, because we wanted the players to have a choice of which car they want to drive, so that they can get to enjoy career in their car of their choice and the paint job of their choice, if you will. And then secondly, because we knew we were going to have a lot more cars, we needed to bring that into play as well. So what happens now is, in the first thing after you've selected your motorsport, it asks you to choose a vehicle. So what it's showing you here is these are all the cars that are participating in this specific motorsport, all the cars that are entered by the various teams that race in this motorsport. So first thing you do is you go and browse. You can go all, or you can go through the individual brands and decide which car you're going to drive. So they're all there. You could decide to group it or change the list format, so they're listed like that. I'm going to go here with the Cayman, and on the screen again very quickly, it's very useful. You can see the stats here of each of the car. If I'm going to switch to the list view again, it's quicker to navigate through. You can see how the stats compare. So I can see a car has a higher top speed and acceleration would maybe be different from the other ones, horsepower and the weight, the where the engine sits and which wheels are driven. A little bit of very cool little info here on the transmission. It shows you that it's a 6-speed sequential for these cars. This one specifically has an H pattern. It's a nice little bit of information to know, but it's especially nice for those people who have a cool gear.
Yeah.
So if you have like an H shifter and you have a steering wheel with paddle shifters and a sequential shifter, this allows you to very quickly decide which one you want to use to have an authentic experience, because you can see in real life this car would have an H pattern shifter, so you choose to use that. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead here and say continue. Let's go with the Porsche Cayman. I'm going to select this one, and the next screen now is choose a team. So what this is telling you is these are all the teams that participate in this motorsport using the Porsche Cayman GT4. Now you go through that, and these are all the teams that have seats available. So you decide based on this which team you would like to apply to have a contract with. So we're going to go here and let's go with the Rotmeg team. So we say, yeah, we like the paint job of that one. We really like how it makes the car look. We'd like to be associated with this sort of paint job and this sort of car. So I'm going to hit A here. And lo and behold,
I didn't realise that you'd spelled gear that way. It's like Richard Gere's racing driver cousin.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. So lo and behold, we have a contract offer. It tells me all the vital bits of information that I need to know. I can still go back from here. If you change your mind at this point in time, you can just hit back, all the way back to the Motorsport Grid and go through the whole process again. Choose a different motorsport, different car, and so on. This gives you a little bit of a seat is open up at Rotmeg Racing Team for next season. We thought about it carefully, and we believe that you're the guy for it. Tells you what motorsport it is, and over here on the right hand side shows you the car that you've selected and the team that you'd be racing for in the paint job, as well as the text name for it. So we have the Rotmeg Racing Team. My name is Rusty Gear, and I'm going to be racing car number 126 in the GT4 Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR. So you have all the information right there that you need. I'm going to hit A now and say, yeah, I'm going to sign this contract. Are you sure you want to sign the contract? Because up to this point, I can still go back and say, yep, I'm game for this. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit A. It's going to create a new driver for me. We can just ignore the screen. In another save, I had unlocked the Lamborghini thing. So, okay, next thing that comes up is you have your career dashboard. Now, what this gives you is you have several tabs. You have Home, Manufacturer Drives, Invitational, Events, and Progress and Settings. Home is where you see the brief overview summary of your career as it stands right now. At the bottom, you have a news ticker provided by our friendly Autosport partner. It says there, Rusty Gear signs up with Rotmeg Racing Team for the new season. Yes, good news. On the very left-hand side, the tile there is a very brief summary of the next round of the series, which of course is round 1. So it tells me there again the name of the series, the country that it's playing off in, which round it is. The next one's going to be round 1 of 2, and it shows me a little graphical information there. Middle top tile is a very brief summary of my calendar. It always shows you the current 3 rounds around the round that you're currently playing. Of course, for this series, we selected the short season, which means we only have 2 rounds. So it's giving us all the information in one bit. But if it was a 10-round championship, I could hit A on this and go in, and it will show me the detail on every single one of the upcoming rounds. Very useful, very quick to see where you are in the season. On the right, you have a little tag there, next round, that indicates which is the next round that you're going to be participating in. So I'm going to go back to the home tab here, and on the right hand I have my emails. This, by the way, I just got to touch back on the calendar thing. The calendar thing, the way that we approached in Project Cars 1 was quite a challenge to manage, both as a player and for us as designers and developers. Doing it this way is more authentic to how motorsport calendars are done, and it makes it far simpler for you to track where you are in your season. On the right tab, we have on tile, we have emails. You go in there and you can see there I have a welcome message from my new engineer. And I have another welcome message from the manager. It shows in yellow, it's unread. The top one is red because the little envelope's open. Go down there, now it opens up and I can read that. And unlike in Project Cars 1, if I'm not wanting to keep these messages here, I can actually delete them and clear them out. So let's clear out the welcome message there. And those are just messages that are left over from a previous save that I was busy playing. Okay, cool. So at the bottom, standings, this at this point in time is all 0, but this gives you a very brief overview of the top 4 in both driver and in team standings. And again, if I click through on that, it shows me the full driver roster, which I can scroll through, of course. It shows me the team roster and it shows me the rounds, which I can tab through as well. But at this point in time, there's only one. None has been played yet. And all the points are 0. But this is where you can very quickly at any point in time can see where in the championship you are, what the points standing are for drivers, teams, and so on. Very useful. So we're going to go
Most important question so far. Snipe Me 77 wants to know if you can beat up your crew chief with a wrench. No.
That would have changed the rating, wouldn't it? Okay, cool. Here we go.
It wouldn't have been Peggy 3 with that in the game.
So before we dive in here, I'm going to quickly highlight the other tabs so you guys just get an idea on what that is. So what I can actually do is I can load up one of the previous saves that we have where we've already unlocked some manufacturer events, invitational events and progress and settings, and then I'll walk you through that, and then because then we can access some of those, which obviously none of them are open.
Yeah, we need to see you do some driving soon, I think, Stephen.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the leftmost tile here, which is the start one. So this takes me to the round start screen, and now we can answer the question about race length and all that. So again, a nice improvement here in Project Cars 1, you always had the sessions there. You could scale them, but then you still had to play them. You had to go in and you can then choose to skip through them. What you have now is you can just turn them off. If you decide that, as with the season thing, you don't have time for a 10-round season, you're going to play a 3-round season. You also don't have time to play practice and qualifying. Maybe, yeah, I'll do qualifying. So you can leave practice off, and then it will never do practice until you come here and turn it on. So it automatically just skip it for you, and you won't ever see practice. And you can do the same with qualifying. But I'm going to have qualifying on because obviously, as we read in the rules and regulations, in the qualifying, it determines your grid placement. If you don't do qualifying, you're going to get on the back of the grid. For purposes of saving time, I'm just going to turn that off for now, though, because we're not going to go through the whole thing. And then you have the race duration. So it's, again, a slider thing, and you can just scale it up there. The maximum duration per race of this series is 20 minutes. Of this specific series, some of course are longer, some are shorter, some are 24 hours, but I'm going to go to the shortest duration here, which for this one is a 5-minute race. Formation lap is an option that appears for certain series where you have rolling starts. In this case, this has a rolling start type, which gives me the option of if I want to run a formation lap. If I turn that on, then I will start the race by doing a first lap, formation lap, that I am in control as the player, and that gives me the opportunity to warm up my car tires and do all that sort of, things that you see the drivers do in real life when they do a formation lap. I'm going to leave that off for now. Down here at the bottom left, we have career settings. So if you go into career settings, it gives you the option to scale your opponent's skill level. It was on 15 because that's how Joe plays. But
it is when you make him play the game for 4 hours to unlock things for you for a live stream.
Oh, I see, it's my fault. Okay, and then you have opponent aggression, which defaults to 15 in the middle there on the slider. So I'll go set that back to that. Allow restarts is just if you want to play it in a more authentic manner, and then you can disable this. And that means if you screw up during a race, you can't just pause and restart. That's it. If you mess up, you suffer the consequences of it. I'll leave it on because that's how Joe likes to play.
Just a quick side question, Stephen, before we carry on. A guy who's asked the question in the chat a few times and I haven't had time to get to it yet. It's more of a time trial question. Can you remember off the top of your head whether time trial leaderboards can be filtered down to specific car times, or is it just class times?
On the PC, you can do it by car. On the consoles, it's by car group.
Okay,
And
so
it's
car class
purely
unit.
because of a limitation of how the platforms deal with how many leaderboards we're allowed to have. And because we have so many tracks and so many cars, the combination is more than what we're allowed to leaderboard. So we have to group them.
Yeah.
It's a technical limitation that's out of our hands, unfortunately. Okay, cool. I'm going to load this up. And again, we have an all new nice loading screen
You should
system.
probably put the gamepad down.
Yeah. I was going to cheat because the gamepad's so good now. I just want to play with the gamepad. So you've got some useful statistic information here about there's no vehicle records out there currently, but once you guys have bought the game and all been playing it for a long time, then you'll see your names up there if you're on the leaderboard.
Just before you get into the driving as well, another question, which quite an interesting one actually, from Can-Am VRL, was asking if your performance in career mode, does it affect your license, or is that purely based on online? Okay.
It doesn't. We want you to play single player the way that you choose to play it without feeling limited by what the consequences of that's going to be. So if you want, because we allow you to simulate the life of a race driver in motorsport, we all know you get some real life race drivers that are hooligans. So if you want to pretend to be one of those sort of guys for one career stint, we don't want you to shy away from doing that because it's going to affect your life stats. So we separate the two to keep it open to you to play the game the way you want to when you're playing offline mode and single player mode. Okay, great. So you're all familiar with this screen already. We've been here many times in the other sessions. I'm just going to go straight in and click on start, and you can see now we have a rolling start, and then
I'll try and answer questions from the chat while you're driving to free you up so you
I'll
can concentrate.
I'll just do like a lap, and then we can. And here we go. We're racing. I'll just drive a little bit while
So if you're in the chat
for like a few minutes.
Yeah, if you're in the chat, I'll keep talking while Stephen's driving. So send me a couple of questions. I'll try and answer them. Just let Stephen
Nice
try and let
drift
Stephen
there.
concentrate for a second. One guy did say, did Stephen just say he preferred gamepad over the wheel?
I was joking because we're just very proud of how much we've improved the gamepad handling. It is significantly better. I can tell you guys, personally in Project Cars 1, it was something that I avoid play with a gamepad, where in Project Cars 2, I have no issue playing it. Obviously, it's a simulation, and by nature of that, you drive real cars with real steering wheels, and you're always going to be better off if you have a steering wheel. Most people would be better off. Some people are just naturally taken to gamepads and just do really well with them, and they prefer to play with that. Personally, I prefer a steering wheel. I prefer a full proper, hardcore setup like this, and that's just the way ultimately that we would love everybody to play. But the gamepad handling is significantly improved to the point of where it's fun, where it's really
so much for me stopping you from talking while you were driving. Another question which I may need you to answer actually was Brazit was asking if DLC cars will be added to the career mode when they're released.
They will be.
Yeah.
To some extent or another, but they will be, yes. We can't go into detail right now for every single one of the possible models because, of course, we're not even talking about the cars that we're going to be adding to the game.
Got to have some secrets.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to race anymore here because we still have quite a bit to talk through on the user interface side of Career, and watching me race is not the most exciting thing on this
Maybe not when you're talking at the same time.
Either. Yeah. I got let me while we're here. I don't know if I don't think we've actually spoken about that little.
This is why you don't talk and drive at the same time.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'll try to. I was looking up there on the screen. I wanted to just very quickly touch on that little widget that we have up there. It could be a little bit confusing how it works, but it's actually really simple, and once you grasp it, it is an extremely useful little tool. So right now the fastest lap text there tells me that it's doing a comparison against my fastest lap. I'm really driving badly because I'm looking up there, but in fact I'm just going to drive slowly so I can focus and talk through that. So you can cycle, I don't know which button is currently assigned to it. Let's see, no, that's the HUD button.
While you're looking for that, I'm just going to answer a couple more questions. Do you want to keep talking?
Let me just finish talking through this. So fastest lap means it's busy doing a comparison against my fastest lap so far, okay? So you have the actual readout there, which shows that I'm currently running 6.6 second, 5 seconds, whatever, up on my previous lap time. The bar above it is where the little very useful bits of information come from. The fact that it's moving to the right shows me that I'm faster, and it shows me how much I'm faster by the size of the bar. What the color shows me is at this exact point on the track, how I compare with the previous lap, or in this case with my fastest lap. So at this very point on the track, if it flashes green, it means I'm faster at that point on the track than what I was on my fastest lap. If it's red, it means at this very point I'm slower. So two vital bits of information. The size of the bar shows you how much faster your overall lap is, and the color of the bar compares with that exact point where you are on at that moment with that lap that it's comparing to. Very useful stuff. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pause and get out of here.
While you're doing that, well, I've lost the question because chat is scrolling
Sorry.
too fast. Oh, here we go. Retrofile TV was asking if you can join or host online races that don't affect your license score, or if everything affects it.
That is a good question. I know you can, I'm trying to remember now, you can choose to use it or not, as in filtering and matchmaking and all that. Whether you can choose to turn it off or not, honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a 25-hour.
We'll double check that
flight San Francisco, thing.
Retrofile, we'll double check that off the stream, and we'll get
you.
Nathan to tweet you about
I'm
it maybe
going to very
afterwards.
quickly, guys. I just went back out to the Race Central, which is what we call our home screen. Back to the career tab, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change drivers. So now you're going to see this last tile of the three, which is called manage drivers. If I go in here, it shows me I have 3 drivers, and it shows me vital information like for each one of them which season I'm currently in. This one is at season 3 already, the one on the left, and the team and all that little bits of information, all the accolades so far and championships won and all that. I'm going to load up this one. By the way, at the bottom there's a little delete thing. You have up to 5 slots, but you can at any point in time come and clear any one of them out. So this is the one, you can see it's highlighted in yellow, and it's got a yellow tick mark there at the bottom just to make sure I see it. That's my currently active career. The other ones are ones that I can now switch to if I wanted to, and I'm going to switch to this very first one by just doing that, and it says load, and I go yep, and there we go. Now it's loaded that career, and it takes me to the career dashboard home screen. So what I'm going to do now is very quickly talk you guys through the other tabs. By the way, you can see this is a longer calendar one. Oh, you picked a 3 season.
Like I said, you needed me to unlock some stuff, so I had to blast through there quickly.
Okay. But yeah, it's 3 instead of 2. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go through the other tabs very quickly. So manufacturer drive. So one new major feature that we introduced in career in Project Cars 2 is you have secondary career paths. On the main career path, which is this, let's say you signed up with this championship, with this team for this motorsport in this championship, and you picked an Aston Martin brand car. Now you're racing with this and you're building up mileage. At some point, Aston Martin will take notice of this, and they will approach you and say that they notice you're spending a lot of time driving their brand, and they'd wonder if you'd be interested to become a brand ambassador for them. You then get invited to participate in a manufacturer drive proving ground event. In this example, by the way, the mileage that you build up is called Affinity. And as you build up more mileage, your Affinity bar, as you see on each one of these tiles, there's an Affinity bar. That Affinity bar fills up, and when it's full, then it unlocks it to this state where it shows it tagged as proving ground. Okay, so we have 14 in total manufacturer drive for these key manufacturers, and when you have access to it by being indicated by the proving ground, if you now go in on this tile, okay, it shows you a little video of what this manufacturer is all about, shows you highlights of their amazing cars, and then we go in here and we have the round start screen. So what this now is it gives me the opportunity to prove to this manufacturer that not only have I done enough miles in their car, but I actually know how to drive it. So I then can participate in this proving ground, and if I successfully complete it by winning, then I get invited to become a factory driver for them. And as a factory driver, I get to do various stints. snapshot events, if you will, that gives you a snapshot experience in all the various, in the key different motorsports that manufacturer is well known for. Using Aston Martin again as an example, they're very well known for taking part in like endurance races. So one of the events that you will participate in for them as a factory driver will indeed be an endurance one. So ultimately what you want to do here is you want to build up affinity with all of these manufacturers, unlock all of these, succeed at the proving ground, and then do your stint as a factory driver. And through doing that and completing that, you'll earn a very nice badge saying that you're a certified factory driver for that brand. So that's manufacturer drives. Invitational events, much improved over how we did it in Project Cars 1. A brief recap: in Project Cars 1, when you unlocked an invitational event by reaching a certain level of progress in your career, it would populate somewhere on a annual calendar, and you could only play it when you reached that day on the calendar. If you then finish it, then you can only play it again when you've worked all the way around the calendar and got to that date again. In Project Cars 2, they're separated out from your main core motorsport calendar. The moment you unlock an invitational, you will get notified, and you can then immediately to the point if you even wanted to quit the race that you were busy with at that point in time, come over here to invitational tabs, and it will indicate to you. You can see we have 5 groups here: historic, track special, low grip, road, and supercar groups of invitationals. And it gives you a little number at the bottom, 1 of 11. That means there are 11 altogether invitationals in historic, and I have access to one of them. I've unlocked one of them. I can immediately come in here, and here it shows me all the various different events. The ones that I haven't unlocked yet, I can come and drool over. So wow, I can't wait to play that. That just looks absolutely incredibly awesome. And it tells me what I need to do. So for each one of these, as I highlighted, it will tell me at the bottom, in the case of the SPA Historic Group C trophy, I need to win the Pirelli World Challenge GT Championship to unlock this invitational event. This one I've unlocked already, or Joe did kindly here by playing with AI on the scene. So now I can enter this invitational event. I can go in here, and it gives me all the same information as what you get in your core career. If it is a motorsport that has, or an invitational event that has multiple different types of cars, you can then change the car as one, choose which car you want to race, and then you can enter this. As soon as you finish it, you can just play it again immediately. You can at any point in time take a break from your core career or from your secondary manufacturer career path and just come play these invitationals. They're intended to be there to provide you a break from your regular career focused play. You can just come in here and have some fun with all of these various different events, and we've got a whole bunch of different events here that's going to keep you busy and provide you with a lot of fun, all sorts of like themed special invitational events. And then under the progress and settings tab, this is a place where you can very quickly come see how you're doing overall in your career. Lifetime goals is what we had in Project Cars 1 as historic goals. They're here and they're back, and we have more, and they're more authentic again. So that's all there for you, as this is your overarching goalpost line, if you will, for career that binds it all together. These are the key things that you try to accomplish as you play through your career.
Just another side question for you briefly.
Yep.
Somebody was asking if we have voice chat in lobbies on console.
Yes.
Yep. Simple
Okay.
answer. Carry on.
Okay, cool. So my career tile here at the bottom shows you a brief summary of where you are in your career. Here you can see that Joe started out in tier 4, and he has finished 2 motorsports in here, and he's won both of them by earning a little gold cup, and you can see a little gold cup there. So if you finished in second, it will be silver and bronze, and then if you finished in 5th, it will actually show a little number there, 5th. So you will have a very immediate, quick overview of all of the series, of all the motorsports that you've completed on this grid and how you did in each one of those. So very useful little reference thing. The one right next to it is for the current series. So you can see in this current series, and if you remember back when I was setting up the GT4 season, there were 3 of them. You'd see all 3 here, and it will be clear to you by indicators which ones you've completed of those 3 and how you did on each.
While
Okay.
we're having just shown the invitational screen, Patrick B was asking if invitational stay unlocked across driver saves. This is the way that the manufacturer drives do.
Invitational events is bound to the driver.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is linked into the way that your core driver play. Where manufacturer events is linked into you as a player. It's a little bit gray areas that, and it's one of those things that we've had a lot of internal design discussions around which way to go. Some people would like it like that, others won't. We know that, but this is how we went with it for this time around. That's how it is. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Trophies. If you go into your trophy room, this is something again that is new to Project Cars 2 and Project Cars 1. Obviously, for you guys who played through career in Project Cars 1 or played at least some of the championships to the point of where you won a trophy, you will recall that at the end, if you won, you saw this beautiful trophy animation and then it was gone. There was no way to ever see it again except for playing the championship again and winning it again. Now you have a trophy cabinet. So each one of those trophies that you win will appear here. First of all, it shows you all the available trophies. They're grayed out. You can highlight them and get information on them. It tells you again here at the bottom what you need to do.
We should say we've got like you highlighted Pirelli World Challenge there, licensed trophies for the licensed championships, which is cool.
Yes, we do. And then you can see what you need to do, obviously, to win each one. If it's highlighted like that in gold, like those two are, it means that those are ones that you've already earned. And then you can
already earned, I should just say.
Joe with AI at 15 earned these already.
Not going to drop that, are you?
So you can then go in here and just watch your trophy video again, and you can say, "Oh man, that was an awesome moment. I remember so well when I did this."
I really earned that against those
Joe
15
remembers so
AI
well
difficult.
when he did this, and so that's really cool. A nice trophy cabinet finally. And then accolades, same thing there. You can see all the accolades that you've earned so far. And for the ones that you haven't yet, it tells you what you need to earn these accolades.
Just a quick question from RGNT was asking, now that we've got some ovals, does that mean we've got stock cars? The answer is yes. We have a stock car. We have the Ford, don't we? We've got the Ford Fusion still, I think. Is that right?
With ovals, we focused on the IndyCar experience because we are the official license holder for the IndyCar series. So we focused on our oval experience to be what it is like in IndyCar. So we don't have the official license for stock car racing, and believe it or not, there is actually a license associated with having any sort of car that resembles a stock car on any one of the tracks that are official stock car racing circuits.
We do still have the Ford Fusion though, so you can hit Indianapolis
but it's
Daytona.
It's something that we are not legally allowed to put focus on.
We can't call it NASCAR, that's sure.
Yeah, exactly. So we focus on the experience of what it's like to race with Indy cars and ovals in Project Cars 2. Okay, and then the last tile here that I want to touch on very quickly is career settings. At any point in time in your career, you can come here and you can change your opponent's skill set level down to 15 and aggression all the way down and edit it. So it's
I'm not streaming with you again, Stephen, I've decided.
It's not by coincidence either. This is the last one, right? Okay, cool. So here we go. You can see our new sticker again, updating him on the latest news in his career. And that, gentlemen, and maybe a few ladies who've joined us, is our new Project Cars 2 career user interface, significantly improved. I'm sure you can all agree over what we had the first time around. Much more user-friendly, much more, much simplified over how it allows you to get around to doing things, right? It's far quicker to see where you are, what calendar, what your calendar looks like for the season, how far you are into the calendar, do your emails, delete your emails, and so on and so on.
I think you need to drive something else, Stephen. We've got 15
so
minutes left of the stream.
So guys, so that's it. I'm going to go back to Rusty Gear. I like Rusty Gear. Where's Rusty Gear? Here's Rusty Gear. I'm going to load Rusty Gear back up, and then I'll go and drive a little bit while we field some more questions.
Yep.
How's that sound?
I'll try and have you talk. I know I said it the first time. We'll try and have you talk slightly less so that you can do the driving.
Yeah. I'll leave the at 60.
Yeah, leave it at a relatively short race, and then we can get a couple of circuits in before we have to finish off the stream.
So any question, guys? Any questions, particularly as pertains to the career
I'll try and field
implementation,
some general questions here as well, because
Yeah,
there's quite a
sure.
lot of that. Some of them I can answer myself while you're driving as well.
Prioritize career-related questions. If any of them come up, if I did that so clearly and vividly and to the point where you have no questions, then that's awesome.
So there's a few people asking about specific tracks. If you look at the track list on the website, I should say, if there is a track you're interested in that isn't listed there, then we probably can't comment on it for the time being. We're not talking...
Yeah, we can only talk about what's in the game, right?
Yeah, we're not talking about DLC at the moment. There are going to be more DLC tracks for this game than there were in the first game, but I can't name them for you now, unfortunately.
That's just Joe being hopeful. We're actually not doing any DLCs on it. I kid. Obviously, we'll continue to support, as we did with the first title, way beyond release. That's how we work as a company, but we cannot talk about what will be in those. I got a penalty. What did I do?
I think you tapped someone while you were
Race
in...
control, 19 seconds to return to position 21. Oh, I took a shortcut and overtook some cars. This, by the way, guys, is very cool. It makes it so much more fair in the way that it, of course, again, it's optional, but it's a system that tracks how you drive, and if you gain a position by cutting the track, then you will need to give that position back, or you'll get slapped with a time penalty. We didn't want to just slap you with a time penalty straight up, so rather give you the opportunity to give the time back, and if you don't, then you'll get slapped with a time penalty. Any other questions, Joe?
I'm going to keep looking. Ode Mode asking about the kind of lag blip you would get in qualifying when people join the lobby in the first game. I can tell you that the netcode has been improved quite a lot. We've obviously been testing a lot internally to try and improve that stuff. We're going to be interesting to see what it's like when the game comes out. And it's thousands of people playing it on opening weekend, but that's definitely been an area that we've looked at improving.
Yeah, man, I got to tell you personally, I can't wait for the people out there to get the game, get their hands on it, and get into the multiplayer stuff and populate those lobbies, so we can start building our ranking, because you can only build your ranking when you're racing against other people, really.
There's a couple of people asking actually about whether we have, I'm trying to think of the right term for it, when some race cars have a electronic downshift limiter to stop you shifting down too early and bouncing into the rev limiter. Do we have anything like that simulated, or not really?
We do, yes.
We do, okay. That's another simple answer. You're very good at these quick answers. A few people asking about SDK support for external apps and that kind of thing.
I shifted down too fast there, and I locked up the rears.
So,
newbie mistake. That's from 25 hours.
Yeah, that 25-hour journey that'll catch you out eventually.
And not focusing on what I'm doing, but that's okay.
Where are we? I lost that question again. Oh yeah, SDK question. So yeah, like the first game, we do have SDK support for external apps. You won't necessarily see apps that are developed by Slightly Mad Studios.
See, in this case, I got a message again that I needed to slow down.
You're determined to not let me answer this question, aren't you?
Sorry, go ahead.
Let me finish. So the SDK support, we won't necessarily see SDK-based apps developed by the studio. Like the first game, you'll see fans developing mobile phone telemetry apps and things like that, for sure.
Indeed, we provide the tools to our customer base out there, our fans and all that, and we've enhanced the protocol significantly. There's a lot more information being pushed out, and please don't ask me what. I don't remember all of that, but
it's most of the information that's in the in-game telemetry screens, I think.
Yes. But it's quite a bit enhanced over what we had in Project Cars 1. We still fully support the programs that were built on top of the protocol from Project Cars 1. When in Project Cars 2, you can actually select whether you want to do the protocol support for Project Cars 1 or Project Cars 2. So it's fully backward compatible as well. You have the option to do that. Still use those apps.
Rossi46, one who's I think appeared in plenty of our esports tournaments over the years, asking if we have online driver swaps. It's not something that we have at the moment, but it's something we're certainly looking at in the future potentially.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it when there's something more to talk about. It's something that we're investigating still very much. And as I was saying earlier about post-launch product support, and me not focusing on what I'm doing. Yeah, that's we'll say more when there's more to say.
Yeah. Good answer, Stephen. Very,
Sorry, guys,
very
we
on
really
message.
got to focus on talking about what's in the game currently. And if you ask about something that's not in the game, we're pretty much going to need to just, answer it by saying it's not in the game currently. That doesn't mean it will not come to the game. Most definitely, but we should really focus our discussions on what's in the game as it is right now.
I keep losing questions because the chat is going so quickly. Someone was asking if we have classic car or classic Indy car. We do have a few classic Indy cars in the game.
Yes.
Going back to the 60s, I think. Is that the earliest one?
Yeah.
So there's definitely some stuff to sink your teeth into there. Will your license still increase in organised private league races? Yes, it will. So all the online racing will impact your competitive racing license. There are so many questions. Try and find as many as I can.
Ooh, overdid it there. Cooked it. By the way, guys, a few quick little favorite things of mine that we don't talk about really at all that much, but is really cool, is one of them is the HUD editor. We have a full HUD editor built into the game, enhanced, quite a bit enhanced over what we had in Project Cars 1. If you go in options and you go your edit HUD, you can edit things exactly how you want it. If you want to move it around, you can move it pixel perfect to where you want to put it. So you have exact control over where you want to put each widget. So if you like it to be over here, you can come put it over here. You can also cycle between detail levels. So if you want to have a minimal or it off or full, it's completely up to you. You can do the same thing with the messages. You can edit the messages. You can choose where you want each one of these messages to appear on your HUD. Full control. And then when you're doing it in VR, you can then control this whole panel on which it's rendered. You can move it away, bring it closer, rotate it, place it next to you in the car as if it's a tablet that you're using to display all that information on. Very, very cool stuff. Very useful. So make a point to try that out. And on that point of VR, if you're playing in VR, you'll have an additional tile here at the bottom right for virtual reality setup. If you go in there, in Project Cars 1, we had a little of an overlay where it allowed you to adjust the world scale for those of you who played it in VR, and you could do some seat adjustment. That is improved for Project Cars 2, and in addition to that, you now have full mirror control. So when you're sat in the car in virtual reality, we allow you to operate it the same way that you would a real car. First thing you would typically do in a real car is you'll find your optimal seat position, and then the next thing you'll do is you'll adjust the mirrors. And this is exactly what we allow you to do now in Project Cars 2. You get in the car, you adjust your seat, and you can adjust each of the 3 mirrors independently. If your car up to 3 mirrors, obviously most cars have either 3 or less. You can adjust the mirrors independently, just like you would a real one. You can turn the angle in and out and up and down, so you can position it exactly how you feel comfortable with it. Okay, and the other very cool thing that I keep on mentioning for people when I get the opportunity is the photo mode. Significantly improved over what we had before.
People, are you able to read people's minds? People have just been asking for that in the chat. That's amazing.
Really cool stuff. So you can so easily have this drone camera. You can see it's even got a little bit of a inertia there. You can fly the drone around. You can position it. It's got autofocus on right now, so wherever I point the reticle, that's where it'll focus, and I can just easily move it around up and down and zoom in, get a nice classic sporty shot there. Let's move it back a little bit, rotate the camera a little bit. Yeah, let's get a closer
that MTV
one like
tilt
that.
on.
There we go, and then I have full control here. I can increase the aperture, so more of the things are in focus, in distance. Oops,
I should say actually, all the screenshots that we've published to promote the game over the last year have been done by WMD members of our crowdfunding community who've had the game for the whole year using the photo mode. There's nothing fake, nothing fudged in there. they've used this tool to take all our screenshots that we published have been taken using this tool. So that gives you some idea of what you can achieve in the new photo mode.
Yeah, and then you have, of course, all the different various things like your filters and all that. But now, cool thing, when you save a photo, when you're doing it as on PC, the cool thing is, obviously, if you now go back out and you go back out to the main menu, it's in your under your let's just go to the main menu, under profile, under images, there it is, and you can view it or delete it or whatever you want to do with it.